You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days fans, it is Belinda from Soap Dirt here, and we've got some March preview spoilers released by NBC Peacock to discuss. One of them in particular is very exciting. And then we have another spoilery tidbit that's kind of a backdoor leak by one of the actors that has me wondering if Salem's about to get yet another serial killer. Let's dive into all of this, but if you have not, please click subscribe first. All right, off the bat, I'm going to tell you about the March preview spoilers first, and then discuss this other thing that has me wondering who gets stabbed and if there is murder and mayhem ahead on the streaming soap opera. So first off, we have a March preview spoiler about the pawn. We know that Konstantin knows about the pawn, and of course now he has that card to control John Black whenever he wants to. So back in the day, Steve Johnson was the pawn's handler working for Victor Kiriakis, if I have my history straight. We have Konstantin convinced that John killed his daughter Katerina, but Steve is only assuming that his friend did it, although he has no firm idea, no evidence that he did. Steve saw dead people and John there and a gun, and he drew conclusions because the pawn was a killer. So maybe we'll find out that John didn't kill Katerina, but for now, the assumption is that he did. And that's part of why Konstantin is the tool that he is. Coming soon in March, Steve spends time talking to Marlena Evans about John and those dangerous days. He tells her the shocking story of their time on Aria, and Marlena wants to know if John really killed the girls. We will just have to wait and see, but it sounds like Steve may not know for certain, but is making assumptions, and John, of course, likely doesn't remember. Maybe it's time for Doc to get John into her office for some hypnosis and some memory recall. If they can prove he didn't shoot Katerina, maybe Konstantin will go far, far away, never to return. We can only hope. All right, the second March preview spoiler the network released is that Paulina gets a life-changing visitor. That comes this week ahead. That's the week of March 11th through 15th. We know Paulina gets an angelic visitor. I'm assuming that's the life-changing visitor. Right now, she's waiting on a heart transplant to save her life. And on the Friday, March 8th episode, things look dire. She's slipping away. So this angelic visitor may start on Friday, but the big focus of it is on Monday, the 11th, when she gets a visit from the great beyond. There's been a lot of discussion about who this miracle person might be. Big Mama is alive, by the way. Somebody asked about that. And so are a lot of other people in Paulina's life. Her awful ex is dead because, remember, Lonnie stabbed her diabolical, abusive daddy. That's why she was in prison. I can't imagine it would be her abusive ex, even though he is dead. Someone suggested Lonnie's little baby, David, that she lost, all grown up in heaven. That seems a little outlandish, but we know we're watching Days of Our Lives, so never say never. And a couple of people here in the comments suggested it might be Lexie Carver. And I started thinking, yeah, that's actually a good idea. She's been dead since 2012. And of course, Lexie was Abe Carver's wife, if you don't remember. She's the daughter of Stefano DiMera, if you don't recall that little tidbit. And she's Theo Carver's mother. She died of a brain tumor in Abe's arms more than a decade ago. So I could totally see how Lexie would come back as an angel and grant this miracle cure to Paulina for Abe. Lexie would not want Abe to be heartbroken like that again, losing another wife. It makes sense to me. I'm hoping that's what it turns out to be. As of now, the spoilers do hint that Paulina doesn't get a heart transplant and instead has a miraculous recovery. I was really hoping somebody would kill Clyde and his foul heart could save her. But, better that dark heart is not in her chest. But no, looks like that creep gets away. He has a successful jailbreak. So I'm sure somebody else will need an organ later. Maybe they'll kill Clyde then. But for now, that's the big Paulina news. And then our last March preview spoiler is also linked to Abe and Paulina. Finally, freaking finally, I am so pleased to reveal that Abe is about to get his memories back. Perhaps if it is Lexie Carver that comes down from heaven granting miracles, she grants not just one, but two, gives Paulina's heart a healing and Abe's brain put back together. His amnesia has been going on for nearly a year, since last June. I think it's ridiculous. It's like they had an idea for an amnesia storyline and didn't bother to think of a way to end it. So bam, miracle cure. I'm fine with it as long as it's over. Now on to the possible murder and mayhem tidbit. So Raven Bowens, who plays Chanel Dupree Demera, likes to post behind the scenes videos on her TikTok, and I'm assuming she has permission to do it because they see her walking around set with the phone. She's not posting anything, I think too spoilery, but she did post some interesting stuff 5 days ago, which means this is stuff that should be on air in a few months, give or take a few days, 6 months or so. It looks like she's still happily married to Johnny. That's not the big deal, though. It's all about cookies. Yes, she showed something on her TikTok, some pastries on set that hint that maybe another serial slayer is coming to Salem. I'm going to show you these cookies. They were clearly giving them out on set. There's two cookie designs. One is a cookie of the iconic Days of Our Lives hourglass, and the other is a cookie of a butcher knife. To me, that means they might be giving out souvenirs of a new serial slayer plot. Why else would you be handing out butcher knife cookies? I look back to see if maybe it was the anniversary of one of the serial killers, to see if it might have been some sort of shout out to the past on Days. There have been 4 other major serial killers. The Salem Strangler didn't use a knife. The Salem Stalker wasn't a stabber and actually wasn't really a killer because they were all on Meleounis, that island. There was the Salem Slasher, aka Andre Demera, and the Riverfront Knifer. I guess they could be doing some sort of blast to honor some sort of murderous past with these knife cookies, but I am wondering and hoping if there is a new serial killer. Those types of storylines are always fun. Otherwise, I'm just not certain why Days of Our Lives was handing out butcher knife cookies, but I guess we'll find out in a few months. That's all of our March previews and piping hot murderous cookie spoilers. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely drop your comments and come back soon. And as always, this is Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.